New York, and on the new Hot 97 app. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
Ebro in the morning, no Laura Stapp. Well, you kind of, not really.
I mean,
not Laura
Louis
Stapp.
Styles.
Louis Styles. Yo, give it up for Rosenberg, our man Kenan Thompson on the program.
Thank you very much.
Wait, no. And ladies and gentlemen, the host of Black Jeopardy, Steve Harvey. Yo,
All of those.
is that one of the most popular skits
The Family Feud? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Steve Harvey, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, it's a great platform for the other cast members to, like, get their impressions off and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why it's good for me. I mean, I like to have my fun with Steve, but, you know, it's just a good showcasing type of sketch. I think that's why it keeps coming back.
I never thought about that. It gets to be for you what Jeopardy was for Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Because Will Ferrell got to be
Right.
his, because you're the bizarro version of Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
It's sort of like him, but it's really
Yeah.
just a you version of him.
Yeah, it's
Same
my
way Ferrell
takeaway.
Trebek was.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's just my takeaway from what I've noticed about that. I mean, I've known him for a long time, since back in the Steve Harvey show days. And all
Right.
that, you know
When his
what I'm saying?
lineup was crazy.
Right. So watching him backstage and how he really is like kind of what I present, as opposed to like his own.
Oh,
camera
really?
persona.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, him being from Cleveland and still being very country at the same time is weird.
How did you end up backstage, like seeing Steve Harvey in that context?
We were on the show. Me and Kel were on the show. Like,
Yeah,
a
they
few
were the
times.
When you were
kids.
kids.
Yeah, because remember, he was a principal at the school.
Exactly.
Right. So
People
they-
forget that he was there.
So he brought you on the show.
Yeah,
As-
they asked us one time and then they kept asking us back. We had a lot of fun with those dudes.
And so as you were like a teenager acting, you were getting to hang out, do the Steve Harvey show, and watch this dude. And Steve Harvey then, he's not the Steve Harvey he is now in terms of his household namedom, correct? I mean, he was popping, but not like
That's
this.
correct. I mean, I tried to do the impression before people even really was paying attention to him like that, and then he did Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and that's when everybody noticed
Right.
him, and he started becoming like a household type of dude.
Because Steve Harvey show days of the TV show, the sitcom, he was also doing the Apollo.
Yeah. I mean, he's always been a double up
Yeah.
type of dude. You know what I mean?
What
And-
he wrote, he everything that I do, he's really the groundwork for having too many jobs, like the
Yeah.
point where it's like
Is
almost
he still
annoying.
on the radio?
Yeah, he's got his radio
That's
show.
what I'm saying. He's been doing
That's
that
enough.
the
That's
whole
too
time.
much.
He was doing the talk show and Family Feud.
Yeah, man.
And then every year he screws up Miss America or whatever pageant
yeah,
that is.
and that's, bruh.
He screwed up this
That's
week.
Unbelievable.
You know, this week again, you saw, right?
Yeah, man.
And
How
then
is
he
that
went
even
off on the
possible?
teleprompter. He was like, y'all not going to do me like that.
Immediately. He's like, well, you know what? I'm going to tell you right now. I read it right there. That shit was, my God, that was super funny. But, I mean, only to him. And that's also what makes him, he's got like a 10-year deal with the Miss Universe now or whatever, something like that. So, God bless his mess up.
How much fun are you having at this stage in your career there?
I gotta say it's incredible because it's constantly changing. You know what I mean? Each week we gotta start from scratch. So even if you had a great show last week, it don't mean this week is gonna necessarily be automatic like that. And we got fucking Eddie Murphy, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Just
it's
about
this
to say,
week.
yo.
Bruh, it's an amazing job. So I'm looking forward to it.
So wait, you're here with us right now.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, y'all getting ready to have Eddie Murphy back this weekend.
He's been back since
He's been with them all
Monday.
week, right?
Well, so yeah,
he's been there. We had our table read yesterday, and I got to like hear him doing voices, and it was crazy. Like I was sitting like right next to the host or whatever. And this week it happens to be, one of my biggest heroes. It's crazy to like hear all these things I've loved all my life. That cadence and those voices and all of that. Just
Which cadences
that
does
proximity.
he bust out? Like which
any
come
kind
up?
of like angry black man or
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
the voices
Deep
we've seen him
voice,
do
like,
forever.
Yeah, like the no Joe mess with me type
Right,
stuff.
right.
You know what I mean? Or a Yiddish type of impression because he's
Yeah.
trying to figure out if he's gonna bring Gumby back and stuff like that. So I don't know, man. It's just been everything I've been watching my whole 41 years on this earth.
Is
man.
this the number one geek out you've ever had in terms of a guest?
Yeah, and it isn't. I mean, it's more of a I think it's like a sensitive, like I want him to have such a great week type geek out. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want him to feel overwhelmed. I don't want him to feel like weird or like, we trying to be a distraction or in his way. And it's his week. And like I'm already like big on it being the host week anyway. And like we all supposed to build them up because they having a moment basically if they're the host. So I've always been big on like this show and this week is about them. And I want to reciprocate that to Eddie for sure because I know he knows he's the man, but I want him to feel it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are the man.
Did you meet him when he came back for the 40th anniversary?
Yeah, but it was brief. It's always really brief with that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like he rolls with a perimeter of people. So unless you like working with him, you're not gonna spend a lot of conversational time with him.
But this time,
6 days. I mean,
look at it. He glowing.
Yeah. 6 days. Well, I just have so many questions. You know what I'm saying? So.
And have you had you'd have obviously y'all working, so you haven't really had a chance to just be like, yo, can I ask you a question real quick, bro?
Well, we'd have these host dinners, and we got to go to that.
Okay.
And then I got to ask him some things. I was asking him about Cosby and all that stuff. It was pretty great.
Did he? Because on the Seinfeld show, when he spoke about Cosby, what I liked about Eddie in that, he seemed like a real dude, in that like he still remembers very clearly what Bill said to him when he came up. He didn't let that go.
I mean, he does. I don't think he like does any drugs or drinks. So I feel like his memory is very clear. You know what I'm saying? Of everything. It's very like precise and clear. So yeah, he talks about it, but he also talks. This is exactly what that dude said to me, and blah 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 blah, blah at this point. And I'm like, yeah, you can't argue with a sober dude.
So who are you? Who have you gotten used to being around? Like, there's some people who just always come back.
I mean, mostly like 90% of the old cast members that come back, like Will Ferrell just came and he was, both feet on the floor, just
incredible.
a good dude.
He's incredible.
Yeah, loves to laugh, you know what I'm saying? Just a sweet Midwestern dude. So, like, his parents are always around, you know what I'm saying? And his dad is the funny one. His dad is like,
really?
Yeah, his dad is a quiet dude with one of them, like, Mad Men type hats on, standing in the corner. And then, like, if you walk past me and like, hey, that was funny. And it was like, oh, man, I'm sorry, Mr. Farrell's dad. Man, nice to meet you, too. But, yeah, it's cool to see people in their, like, real lives when they keep it real like that. Like, he could have, like, security and stuff like that, but he wants his parents around.
Speaking of, you said you allow the host to have their moment.
Yeah.
Do you recall the Kanye West night? The Kanye West Saturday night?
Thoroughly. Yeah.
I would have
now go back to the tape.
Yeah, no, I remember.
I don't know if y'all was paying attention to Kenan during the whole thing.
I dipped. Yeah, I dipped out.
He was like, yo, this the host moment, so.
I mean, if you're a fan of hip-hop, you know him, so you know.
You knew what was about to go down.
It's a moment in the show where it's like, sometimes they'll do a last song over the goodnight credits or whatever. So, U2 did it, McCartney did it, and they actually like go to the other stage and like get with their band and like do a whole performance. When I saw that he was staying on the regular stage, I was like, oh, he's just gonna take a moment and have a moment, basically.
Think about the Kanye West.
Yeah, I think I would like to watch this on TV. And I just so happened, I got lucky because it became extremely uncomfortable extremely quickly.
You just made the right call. It was actually a classic example.
I was also tired as hell. It's a long day. You know what I'm saying?
But isn't this the classic example of white people love to run towards the bad thing that's happening and black people know to run away? All the white people are like, let's go check out what Kanye is doing.
I don't even know if they knew that they were running into something.
Nope.
Like they were just in their usual, huggies and celebrating. And we did another show and, oh, Kanye's going to speak now. Okay, I'll listen. And it turned into that, like, immediately. So, God bless him.
Was he dropping lots of MAGA talk during the week or no?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's been on that since, he's been on that. He hasn't really let off of it. He's going back and forth about the hat and carrying on and, like, making up, who told him to wear this and not wear this and, like, all this other, like, rumor mill shit that has nothing to do with nothing. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm not trying to, like, overly promote somebody that's getting impeached, but it's each man's prerogative, I guess. I think what he's trying to say is be a free-thinking individual. He's just going about it left, in my opinion.
Do you, what's the truth behind how people respond to the political satire that you get? Like, I mean, from the people, like, outside of...
I mean, all I mostly, like, overall hear is, thank God you guys are doing what you're doing. These times are, this is, the time that we need laughter the most and blah, 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 and especially in these crazy times. So I don't really hear too much from, like, haters necessarily that are pro, MAGA or pro-Trump or whatever. They don't really, maybe on social media, but I turn my comments off.
So, on a day like today, right? So it was today, Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
The president of the United States got impeached yesterday.
Crazy.
So that means Saturday... Y'all got to have...
We got to talk about it, yeah. I mean, update for sure. They got to have some jokes.
And And so your man's, you saw his rally yesterday?
Who, Trump?
Yeah, he had a Merry Christmas rally yesterday.
He's going to continue to do that. He's going to continue to deny. That's
Yo,
his
your
game.
man's was up there making fun of impeachment. Because
He's
I
been
remember
doing
back
that
in the
the
day
whole
when
time.
impeachment was scary.
Yeah, I mean, it was a real thing. Like, Nixon resigned so they wouldn't have to put him out. You know what I'm saying? Because they was going to put him out. And they was like, do you want to save face or do you want us to put you out of there? And he saved face and took that helicopter ride, you know what I'm saying? But Clinton was different. Like, they just didn't have all the pieces that they needed, I felt like. So he skipped off. And now this dude is not that. There's a lot of evidence. There's a lot of this and that and the other. And he's still not taking it seriously because that's his racket. But I don't know, man. Like, he doesn't take it seriously because he knows he has power players in the Senate, I guess, and he knows that they can't just remove him like that.
Let me ask you this question. If he wasn't president, would you find him as one of the best comedians you've ever seen? He is funny.
Because his
bro.
stand-up
He's
specials
very
he does are
funny.
very good.
Yo, he does an
hour.
hour and a half.
Who has an hour, a different hour every night?
Who, Donald Trump?
Yeah.
His rallies are an hour and a half unscripted.
This is very true.
You know,
Of laughter.
comedians take a year to work on an hour.
And he does
Laughter,
one a month.
And he engages his people. They laughing with him, huh? It's not like
Yes.
he's the only one up there laughing. Yeah,
And if you
that's
watch
deep.
him, he does impressions and shit.
He does everything.
It's straight
He does it all.
improv, man.
He does it all.
Yeah, I mean,
He makes fun of
before
dead
all of
people.
this, he was just, New York Donald Trump. Like, I didn't know him well enough to have a problem.
How many times did you see him at SNL?
He hosted in 2000, whatever, 2004, 2000. It was in my early years, I remember, and everything was fine. He was the apprentice Donald
Yeah.
Trump, you know what I'm saying? Like the apprentice, like Arsenio won that shit damn near, you know what I'm saying?
And he
So it was
didn't-
like,
he-
everything was fair.
There was nothing there was nothing particularly irregular about his week hosting?
No. I mean, he was like, this is my daughter and blah, blah, blah. And it was like, that great. That's cool, And then like all this like political stance type stuff and side taking started coming out when he, started running and getting political. That's when it was like,
Do you believe
all right,
him?
I thoroughly disagree with
Do you
everything.
believe him, or do you think he's just an opportunist and he found a lane?
I believe he's connected to individuals that force him to be in the positions he's in.
Got it.
Tekashi 6ix9ine of presidents.
He's the Tekashi 6ix9ine of presidents, no doubt.
I can agree with that.
Now, I firmly believe this is Brewster's Millions,
Yeah.
right? Because, and I brought this up the other day, and I brought it up periodically, but I don't really think people are getting what I'm saying. He was stepping out of The Apprentice when he decided to run for president.
Yeah, he was looking for his next leg up.
He was coming down the escalator. They paid for all them people to be there. He tripped and stumbled into this. This is Brewster's Millions. Because remember,
really
Brewster's Millions, he was like, yo, don't vote for me. And everybody was like,
100%.
I love it.
1,000%.
It really
Yeah.
is that.
This is
It
Brewster's
really
Millions.
is.
A rich dude.
You can see
Didn't
it on his
expect to
face
get
when
it.
he won. He was coming down the stairs and it was taking forever. You know what I'm saying? Because he was probably back in the room like, shit, I got to do this now. You know what I'm saying?
I
He
gotta
had to go
actually
out there
work.
and like make this speech and this is going to be your first presidential speech and blah, blah, blah. He was overly nervous. And now it's like, he's got his comfortable shoes on of not giving a fuck, basically.
Right.
And he's just spattering out all this rhetoric that unfortunately people really soak up and believe and take back to their home lives and endanger people. You know what I'm saying? It's not cool.
Are there ever weeks in which my one I've been pretty last year actually wasn't that committed. This year I've been pretty committed week to week on SNL. And
Well, welcome back.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, it's been my whole life. I'm white.
No
So, it's just part of my life.
I mean,
Black people catch it on Twitter.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
catch clips on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, when you're white, let me tell you,
Black
white
people
people are
catch it based off of what they are told.
right. White people are still they have a VCR
watch
connected.
this.
They're still recording and watching every but are there ever weeks when you come in and go, man, we are doing a lot of politics this week? Because there are weeks when I'm like, damn, this is 3. Are we so New York liberally, politically driven that sometimes it's almost too much?
No, I mean, I don't think it. It can never be too much when
The times
you
of
gotta,
this.
when you got to be diligent. You know what I'm saying? These are the times to be diligent.
And it's the hottest conversation.
It's the hottest conversation. It's everybody's conversation, and it's also like a comedy meal. It's not, we've been doing politics for forever, but this is such a conundrum of shit every single day. It's just crazy. So it's just like feeding the comedy meal at the same time. But our responsibility, I think, is to point out the ridiculousness. Shout out to Rob Dyrdek But to point out like the ridiculousness of what's really going on, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he can make a speech, but like, look, this man is like making gestures of a handicapped person or this, that, and the other. Like, he's a real, not necessarily the most upstanding dude. And, like even when George Bush Jr. was out there doing shit, it wasn't like nationally dividing like this. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was just like, oh, I don't think he has the best interest, or he's
not
the
smart,
smartest or
right.
whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Love to have a beer with him, though. Remember that?
It wasn't like take sides and take up guns and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit is like highly dangerous at this point for lots of people. And like, that's not the way a president should feel.
You cracked me up last week on the cold open when you did they did several different families all over the holidays how they handle politics.
Yeah, different conversations.
And this may surprise you, but Kenan was the dad in the black family that they were showing. So they cut to Kenan, and at one point when they're all asking, so what's going to happen with the impeachment? And when you hit the, you think Martin and Will Smith are really going to get it together for Bad Boys 3?
I think it's going to be hot. It's going to be a big opener.
For some reason, like there's a way that you tap into. Do you have a lot of fun around the idea of being that character?
The real is. You know what I'm saying? So it's always very funny to me because in my mind, that's really what's going on in a lot of households that might be black or whatever. So.
Well, and also because old black folks done seen some crazy shit out here.
Yeah.
So while everybody's spinning and running around in circles and losing their minds and shit.
Oh yeah, you played that character many times. You're like,
I don't give a fuck. Yeah.
What was
nothing gonna happen?
That one when it was like, it's still not gonna happen. Nothing's gonna happen.
The belief in the system is, much more minuscule in our community. But, it is what it is. That shit is, it's gotta be disappointing and frustrating and all of that. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, we got to stay diligent. That's why we keep, bringing up the fact that all of this stuff happened this weekend. Like, this is where the bullshit is and this is where the truth is. You know what I'm saying? So,
your time at SNL, right? I feel like, and just knowing you, right? You have so much fun. Like, you living your dream.
Yeah.
Right? I don't see you wanting to not do this job.
No, man.
Because some people leave, right? Like, they have their run and they're like, yo, I'm going to go do something else. When I see you, I'm like, yo, this dude gets to live in New York, take care of his family, and live his dream.
Exactly. So you can see, my brother. His vision is important.
Because a lot of people ask you, they're like, when are you going to go? Is that a common thing?
Because they feel like that's the next evolution of your career is going on and, like, doing a bunch of movies and doing a TV show and all of that. But I feel like I've done that the whole time, and I can continue to do that without having to necessarily give up the job. So the only thing that pushes me towards the door is the opportunity for somebody else coming in, but they still keep making room for people. So
that's the beauty of it now too, and I will give SNL credit because a lot of places talk about like we're going to make a culture change, and at first it was a little messy when they really made that first attempt. It didn't all work out exactly right, but now I actually do feel. So, at least on the outside, some level of a culture change. And it doesn't feel like you are holding the black spot on SNL and other people aren't going to get opportunities.
I mean, there's there's 3 black cast members and 3 black writers. So it's like, it's a good handful of us. It was me by myself for a long time, you know what I'm saying? And then Jay came and, when I came in, it was, me, JB, and Finesse, and Jordan Black was a writer, and, that was a squad, and then they all ended up leaving, and then I was there kind of by myself for 3 years, and then Jay came, and it was like, okay, cool, and then Jay left, but then Leslie and them came in, and that was cool, and we had our times with them, and now it's just been piling on. Once Che came and became head writer, and it was just floodgates. And
but that's really important too, right? Because when we talk about culture change, everyone talks about getting faces in front.
First black head writer.
But Che's the head writer. It changed everything.
It's huge.
And I personally, I
didn't even know he was head writer.
Yeah. I don't want you. I really hope you don't rush out. I really think, honestly.
I don't know what to rush for. It's
your
trajectory.
And you hit your stride.
Right,
you're in the zone right now.
Also, his professional trajectory is different.
Yes, you started out as a kid star.
You were on television already. You did it.
Yeah, that's how I look at it. I think I don't necessarily go down the exact same roads that everybody else has gone down. Also, all my people that have left, when they come back, they don't seem like as happy. They just feel like there's something missing. Like they all feel like they could get back in it.
Because
You know
there's
what I'm saying?
something,
And
there's
it's
something different, man. And I tell people this about radio.
I know where you're going.
People
You're
are
right.
always like, yo, when you doing this? And when I'll be like, yo, I have fun with my friends
finger on the
every
pulse,
day.
right.
And it's that live thing every day.
Every
You
day.
have that vehicle no matter what's happening in the world, you know the world's turning to Saturday Night Live to see what y'all do.
Yeah, when you're out in the world and you going project by project, your time slows up so much more. Like, I can't tell you where 16 years went. You know what I'm saying? It just it happened.
You've been
That's all I can
laughing,
say.
you've been
Yeah.
chilling.
Laughing, chilling, getting married, making babies, and like just living life. You know what I mean? But 30 Rock has sucked up a lot of my time, but I can't really tell because it's been a big giant party.
And here you go. I think these still projects. You got the Kenan Show.
Kenan Show we shooting this summer. That's right.
So that's happening. You're doing, it says here, you're doing a biographical film.
Am I?
That's what it says here.
It's in the prep, so yes,
What is-
congratulations.
Spinning Gold?
What is biography? Oh, that fell apart, unfortunately. I thought it was like an autobiography. That's different.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
no.
was supposed to be playing Barry Gordy in that, but that project fell apart.
Oh, that would have been tight though. You was very
A lot of
I
people
hope.
don't. That's your voice in the last Grinch too.
Yeah. My
Yo,
little,
my dog. I watch.
my little bearded character.
Yeah, what's his name? Do you
His
remember?
Name it started with an H. Hunkle Finn, something like that.
Yo, in the new Grinch
Bricklebaum, that's
that
what it is. Bricklebaum. Yeah. Good call.
the one that Pharrell and Tyler did the music for.
Yeah.
He's one of the main characters in the film.
Yeah. I'm the red-haired bearded lumberjack.
That's tremendous. I'm guessing they paid for that.
They paid, yes.
Handsomely.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
think the
was-
checks keep coming, I
I
believe.
think so.
Yeah.
I think it was all right. I mean, because the movie did well. So
Right.
you
They
know,
usually,
the
and it
bosses
still
kicked
does
in.
well.
And every year it does well again.
I knew that. How could it not? It's the Grinch. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? It's like, it ain't going to be too many
And the music's
ways
fire.
to get it wrong, number one, and then, like, ain't nobody that's not heard of it, basically.
And the soundtrack's fire. I'm gonna keep it 100.
I mean,
Yeah.
we mentioned Will Ferrell earlier.
Tyler is amazing, man. I think we all know that. Pharrell, too, like, that's a no-brainer. But Tyler's been on his shit lately.
He's special.
Yeah.
But yeah, you mentioned we talked about Will Ferrell. You do Elf. You have your one Christmas movie.
Oh, man.
That's a bag for the rest of your life
For
forever.
the rest of it, I mean, Trading Places is the same thing for Eddie. You know what I mean? Every Christmas.
That's right.
Like, Trading Places, it's one of my traditions. Like, I watch that shit every year, at least
I'm
several
watching
times.
that this year.
Are you
Yeah.
more raw or delirious?
I'm delirious.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like Delirious was tighter. Raw was like, there's some great bits in Raw, but I think overall Delirious was way funnier.
Delirious Eddie was hungry.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a
Like
big
it was a
difference.
sharpness.
Super. From beginning to end, that shit was well worked out. Raw was like, I've been rich, and this is kind of what I've been thinking about lately. But it was dope, directed by Kenan Ivory Wayans. It's like, it's all great things. You know
That's
what
who you
I'm saying?
named after.
Yeah. It's my second dad. Yeah, him and my dad were friends when I was growing up. And he was like, man, I'm going to name my son after you.
There you go, Kenan.
Those are lies.
That was not true.
Yeah, those are-
That will be reported. I'm
those
glad
are
you said that
untruths,
because right now,
I
whenever,
wanted you to just leave it there and see if the
Yeah.
internet took it.
We did that joke kind of when I went on his show, when he had his talk show, and he was acting like he was my dad that skipped out on my mom. I didn't really like the joke at first, but then I saw it and it was pretty funny. Classic Wayans.
When you look back at like a that family, I'm glad you brought them up and everything that they contributed to comedy and movies and et cetera, et cetera. How far are you even trying to go down like the movie path? And obviously, with the Kenan show, that opens you up to a weekly 30 minutes. It's a weekly 30 minutes on NBC.
Yeah. Yep.
You're writing with other people.
Concept-wise, but I'm letting them do their writing and do their due diligence because I was hands-on on the pilot, and now they're like restructuring or whatever. So I would rather just, tell me what to do when I, show
Yeah.
up and turn the camera on.
And you playing a
as
black
opposed to
dad.
Yeah, or like a widowed father. Yeah.
Okay. Single dad.
Single dad trying to make it all work, balancing babies with curly hair. That curly hair is not easy to maintain and manage in the mornings, especially. I know that well.
Very well.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as the movies, are you writing and pitching those too? You still doing it?
Career-wise, I'm trying to be as busy as possible, like, starting a production company and throwing different projects out there, whatever. Career-wise, it's kind of just, what comes down the pipe. If they package something, like, hey, we got this movie for you and Kevin Hart. Like, of course I'll do that shit, you know what I mean, in a heartbeat. if I have the time. But like SNL is from October to May, and then my show's gonna shoot from June to September, and then we back on SNL. So like the windows are closing for like big projects that I try to save.
You like
myself
the
for.
week. It sounds like you really like these I'm on every week joints. You like
I
that.
mean, it's good to stay current, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everybody moves on from things, and people forget. One horrible story will be gone in a week. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
people will be back on that person. Like, it's something about that dude I don't like that. I don't remember exactly, but you got a new project out, so I'm gonna go see that. You know what I mean? Like America just moves on that fast. So it's good to just, even if you're not a bad person, it's good to stay in people's mind like that.
Do you have a favorite TV sitcom?
Of all time, it was the Cosby Show for a long time, but between that and like Martin and Fresh Prince, but I felt like probably Martin. Martin was incredible.
Martin over Fresh Prince?
Yeah. I mean, Fresh Prince is very cookie cutterish. Martin was
It was different.
Detroit, you know what I mean? And all kinds of characters,
Right.
like just doing the most. Even when he was just Martin trying to like jump at Cole or something, you know what I'm saying? Like how physical he was when he was little back in the day was really, really funny. Like, I know y'all all remember the puppy dog episode on the island where they just went at it for 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Like the most ridiculous. They could get away with that kind of stuff. And those are very, very hard laughs that I didn't see in a lot of shows growing up. A lot of them were typical sitcom, different strokes, so.
It was really different when you think about it. It didn't feel establishment. It really they're almost.
It felt like a blend. It felt like a blend of like the Fresh Prince and Flip Wilson or something. Like
Right.
a guy who can do all these characters that mended that.
And they did those things where like when they would use a set that was intentionally bootleg.
Right.
Like they would do like we are you can tell this is fake. Like
Well, that's what they're
it's a
trying to
different-
accomplish with this live in
Yeah.
studio audience thing that's
Yeah.
going on, right? I didn't see I gotta watch the Good Times. I had to work. I wanted to, but I didn't see good feedback on Good Times the other night.
Well, it already came.
They
out.
just
Wednesday.
it was last night, 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Or Wednesday
Twitter
night, 8
didn't like
o'clock. Twitter didn't like it, but I don't know if I could trust Twitter.
I know you can't trust Twitter.
It's just weird, man, when they're doing these one-off things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't tell you that every episode of Good Times was great. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost not fair for them to do it just once. You know what I'm saying? You grow to love these characters on a weekly basis. Like, you're like, oh, what's JJ up to this week? As opposed to like,
That's so true.
let me just swallow up this nostalgia and feel like it's gonna.
And if you're not
taste the
nostalgic
same.
about it, why would you enjoy one episode
And
that
if you
much?
didn't live
I
it,
mean, and have any of them really been that great? Like the All in the Family, didn't they do?
I heard they
like,
did numbers. I don't know if I would, but
Didn't they
doing
do the
numbers.
Jeffersons and all that too? Like
They did a Jeffersons and they did 2 All in the Family. You know, they
Yeah.
brought the White Show back. They only brought Jeffersons back once in Good
Yeah.
Time.
But even like when they did The Wiz, like, girl that played Dorothy was wonderful. You know what I mean?
Right.
And nobody remembers, nobody knows her name. Like, her name's not just out in the street. Like, this girl has talent. Like, she should be paid attention to, and that's what it should be. And if they were doing it as something that was happening over and over, you know what I mean? Again, I think that constant reminder of how talented that person would drive, you know what I mean, more opportunities for her. So that's kind of my only hang up about it is the, one and done of it all.
Now, you're the Kenan Show live in studio audience. Y'all going that route?
It's film. It's going to be.
Oh, it's film. Okay.
'cause we wanted to go out into like real realities and real sets and stuff like
okay.
that.
Dope.
Just because that's how the network, looks these days. There's
Right.
not a lot of, in the studio sitcoms
On
on,
a set.
NBC. Right now.
It is an adjustment to watch a show that's
CBS, they still doing those.
Right.
But, NBC has a lot of like, not Modern Family, but like, yeah.
Real life, kind of out in life, out
exactly.
in the world type
Yeah,
shows.
Desperate Housewives.
Yeah.
Is it Desperate Housewives? Was that the show?
Desperate Housewives was NBC.
Right.
No, it was ABC.
ABC, exactly.
Getting in trouble with the network. Here we go.
Yo,
This
but
is
you're
going
the
back.
face. You're practically the peacock, dude. You
that
can't get
kinda
this
show.
wrong.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying, like, not Desperate, not Real Housewives of something. Desperate Housewives. So I get those two confused.
Yeah, that is confusing.
But yeah.
Do you get bummed out when you see like first thing I saw when Kamala left the race? I was like, oh man, no Maya Rudolph as Kamala.
I know. She can still,
I guess you can still bring
I think
back the character.
Yeah, Kamala's still alive, so she could still, do things. But it does make it more of, a hurdle when you have to, like, make somebody relevant that is kind of backed out of the light like that.
Yo, how much you love Maya Rudolph, though?
It's my sister, man. If
Man,
it wasn't
I
for
love
Maya, I
Maya.
wouldn't have had a first moment on the show. She gave me my first moment
Wait,
on the
what?
show. Yeah, she came to me because Wanda Sykes hosted the Emmys that year, and her and Bill Cosby had an awkward moment because she was doing like bits where she went into the audience and kind of semi-heckled people, but it's all like worked out beforehand. But Cosby was being a dick for whatever reason, and it was awkward. So we recreated that, and that was my first moment. Otherwise, my first night on Tuesday night, the writing night, I was walking around like everybody's doors was closed. I didn't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't write for myself on Nickelodeon, so I was just basically walking around the whole night, like not really knowing what to do. And then she came to me and was like, I got this idea for this, and we wrote it, and it was on Update, and that was my probably one and only moment in that episode. Yeah.
And this was in season 1?
It's my very first moment on the show.
Wow, that's awesome.
Season 1, episode 1 for me.
Not season 1 Saturday Night Live.
Right.
Well, no, but it could have been season 1, episode 7. I don't know how long you can
No,
sit
it
around
couldn't be
making a moment.
season 1.
That's true.
I'm sorry. Your
My
season
first
1.
moment, yes.
Not
His moment, I got
1975.
lucky.
It's like
No,
John
My first
Belushi.
moment came in my first show, yes. Like some people do get donutted on their first show, and that does not feel great.
Did you have any donuts that first year?
Oh, yeah, several.
So you got the first show, which is great, of the season, but then there are other ones when you're sitting around on your hands.
Yeah, I mean, I was also in a cast of, all the hitters that you know these days. You know what I'm saying? It was Tina Fey, Maya, Amy, Rachel, Jimmy Fallon, Horatio, Forte, Fred Armisen. You know what I'm saying? It was like there was not a whole lot of room for,
The new guy.
shit to be tried out that they don't know is like bona fide. So
Isn't it
took a
crazy?
while.
People can have their moments of, and fans do, of course. Real fans of anything have moments of criticism. This season I'm not fucking with. And you can have your moments where you talk about writing and what you think about the show. Lauren's consistency
Bruh.
for how good the cast is. The cast right now is iconic also. It's every year it feels
can
like.
They're
somebody
fucking
explain to me-
beasts.
It's crazy.
They're amazing, man. Like I sit next to Cecily, and then on down the line, it's like Che's right next to her, and then it's Melissa, who's a brilliant impressionist, and then it keeps going. It's like Beck Bennett is amazing, like him and Kyle doing their thing, and then like
Kyle's
all
amazing.
around
I
the
think Kyle's
table.
amazing.
You know what I mean? And so you get to the other side where the end of the cast, and at the very end of the cast is Kate McKinnon.
It's
you know
Kate,
what I mean?
who's
She's over
iconic.
there.
Yes.
Bruh, it's a whole table of hitters. Like they find really, really talented people up
You know,
there.
if Kate McKinnon actually was Elizabeth Warren, the election would be over. Like we would have already won.
Yeah, people would have voted.
We would have already voted
I
early.
mean, she should run. And eventually, I think she would do well in politics. Probably. She's
Tell me,
beloved.
so how did from your knowledge of how it works when Lauren is looking for talent or grooming talent or there might be somebody watching this conversation right now is like, yo, for real, how does that work? How do you get
People
in
ask
that
me
room?
that all the time. I mean, a lot of it comes from improv houses, and a lot of them are people that they've been told to watch. You know what I'm saying? So it's somebody that's coming up through the Groundlings, which is in L.A., and Second City is in Chicago, and I think they have one somewhere else, maybe in Toronto or something. And then here in New York, it's like UCB, the Upright Citizens. Right. And, those are the most similar kind of experiences to doing the show. So that's usually where they focus on bringing in new talent because you got to hit the ground running. There's no time to explain how to write sketch comedy for yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not going to have time. I got lucky because I was able to perform and service other people's material until I figured it out. But it's not like that necessarily.
Because
for
you were a
everybody.
teenager and you was moving through Nickelodeon and
Yeah, I mean, I knew how to face the camera and throw in a bunch of different voices or whatever and act not afraid, basically, and get my jokes across, which was get their jokes across, basically. And I was able to do that for years, But before I put up my first sketch that I thought of, it was a while. So they look at those places when they're looking for new talent. And then also, stand-ups with any kind of reputation or whatever. So between those two things, that's kind of where they pull from.
it's a tough road though. I mean, you made it sound simple, but
you
it's
gotta.
it's a
how long
grind.
does it take to get a stand-up reputation? You know what I'm saying? You got to be out there for years doing it. Because there's so many of them. So to like crawl past all these people to be like, this is the guy you got to pay attention to.
Now's also a weird time.
Super long road.
And stand-up's weird now, too. In one sense, it's amazing. There's way more opportunity. And then in another sense, it's weird because I will see specials that now exist, and it does not, and this is, there's so many outlets, getting a special also doesn't have the same impact.
No.
So you get one, there are more people to get them, and that's amazing.
Yes.
But back in the day, if you got an HBO, it's over. Like, you're the highest level you could possibly be.
Yeah, I mean, all those like, trying to get to the Tonight Show and do your bit or whatever was like the pinnacle, because only the chosen few got to even have the opportunity to do that, because there was only certain people that, you know, were over those doors of opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like this lady over at the Comedy Store, this person over here. They have the connection to that talent person at that show.
They were the gatekeeper.
Right.
Yeah, and it was, you know, it was way tighter, which was good and bad, because it was good because only, you know, the really, really good ones can, you know, squeak through the filter or whatever. And it was bad probably because a lot of people didn't get a chance. But nowadays, a lot of people
cultural
can
bias
get the
there
chance.
sometimes in the
but
gatekeepers.
they don't have the same amount of training or hunger because they've been turned away so many times. So, you know, it's a weird, you know, fine line to walk, I guess. But yeah, there's a lot of comedy specials out there that are not worth watching, unfortunately. But
there are more doors open.
Look
So
at the opportunity it's giving them. You know what I'm saying? It's also giving them that experience. So maybe, you know, the first special isn't the one. Maybe the next one will be the one.
But it's also how we look at rap now, right? Like we had to make an adjustment in music several years ago when the internet is saying somebody's on fire.
Right.
We get to the album and we're like, yo, this is doo-doo, right?
Right.
This does not sound good.
Yeah.
But the young people and the fans are all into it on social media because it's hitting them a certain way. But then some of those artists, over time, they kept working on it, but they worked on it in public. It's not like back in the day where it was pre-prepared and you kind of honed your craft and then.
Which I feel like takes that much more courage, you know what I'm saying, to do everything. Especially for like somebody like Justin Bieber to like find his real voice in front of all of those people every single time in anticipation of what you're going to put out, you know what I'm saying? And there's no like, you know, private experimentation for a person like that. So, you know, you got to give him his credit, especially when they get it right. You know what I'm saying? And they actually come with, you know, like, oh, he's really, you know, talented. He's really singing.
yeah,
now,
and they
blah,
have
blah, blah.
happened. Then the internet come ups who then turn into real artists that are totally legitimate. And same with comedy too, because there are comedians out there who have 11 million followers on Instagram.
Right.
Every video gets a bajillion likes, but they can never make the next step because they don't have it. And then some have really, you know, turned into something.
Yeah, so I can't necessarily say it's bad. It's just
Different.
very different. You got to, you know, continue to hone your craft. And I feel like a lot of people, like, leave that short when they get an opportunity, you know what I'm saying, and kind of coast off of that. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Do you find joy in watching a comedian bomb?
Yeah, especially if it
See, I
looks like
thought it was only me.
If it looks like they learning something, it's probably the funniest thing that could happen that night. You know what I mean? Like, it's usually funnier to me, especially, like, even in sketches. There was a sketch last week, when I was playing the security guard that was getting Me Too'd, basically, named Charlie. And it was like me and Scarlett were both getting fired, but she was getting fired for very mundane things, and I was getting fired because obviously I was just doing the most. You know what I mean? When I was in my wordage. But there was this one joke that I just knew wouldn't necessarily get nothing, but it got nothing. You know what I'm saying? And that made me laugh so hard. You could see it. I was like, oh, snap. Like the whole nothing happened in the entire, so I'm like, nobody got that joke? Like, for real? It's kind of the best. So, yeah.
No, I do have a joy because I think it's part of the game. I think that's why, right?
Yeah.
Like an artist going out and not having a good night, whether it's a comedian or a singer or whatever, it's part of the game.
Right.
You're going to have bad nights.
Yeah.
And so I guess because I'm doing something every day where we definitely have bad days.
It has to be fascinating, too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To just, like, I feel like I'm, you know, pretty normal and kind of know, like, what my fellow person might be thinking or whatever. But when it goes super left like that, it's like, oh, wow, this is incredible.
So
like,
is there a little bit
how detached am I from you?
Right. And is there like a little bit, you know, you're used to basically, you do the show, and if you watch SNL, you know what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Laugh, 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 big laugh.
Yeah.
So when you get that moment of just silence, it's almost be like a weird rush in some way, like what's happening here?
It's weird because it's like, when I'm playing a character like that, it's almost like everything I say should be getting responded to. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when I say something that gets nothing, it's like, oh, shit. Like that.
But you're also playing a character it's a sensitive topic.
Very.
Because this is really happening out here.
Because, like, when we did it 2 years ago, it was just like, yeah.
No, not today.
This one, everybody was like, all right,
Y'all playing
I'll
around.
take that home and laugh at that.
Some of
at
that
home.
and some of that silence is. Is this over the edge?
Yeah.
Am I about to send this?
Like, do you really feel
am
that
I about
way?
to
It's
send
like,
this complaint?
That's when we lean back and it's like, okay, it's just jokes, by the way. You know what I mean? Like, we're not trying to be insensitive to the movement at all. But at the same time, you know, there might be something to laugh at when you have a dynamic like a sweet Scarlett Johansson versus, you know, my character. So,
Do you think right now Dave Chappelle is on sort of a mission to push the envelope and allow people to really feel comfortable laugh at things again?
yeah, he says it, you know. He says it's like a stand-up's responsibility to, like, talk recklessly, you know what I'm saying? Otherwise, where else would you get it from, and where would you get that kind of release to where you can speak your mind freely or whatever and not be cut down for it or, you know, things like that. But, you know, I don't know how well that's necessarily going to work because, you know, you don't want to necessarily undermine anything at the same time. You know what I'm saying? When people are having a movement, if you continue to, like, make jokes about the movement, it kind of diminishes the power of that struggle probably. So, I don't know.
It's a hard balance.
It's a hard balance, but I feel like
think he
the
did a
balance is
phenomenal
gonna-
job in his last.
He does it for he's a thinker, you know what I'm saying? So he's not just gonna go out there recklessly and talk just blindly, you know what I'm saying? He's gonna well thought out what his, you know, debates are. But at the same time, yeah, there's a lot of, you know, change going on in society. So the comedian himself has to educate himself on a way to still be funny or still talk recklessly, but at the same time, you know, not diminish, you know, people's struggles.
Right.
Did you see Dolomite on Netflix?
I did. It was
Rate
brilliant.
that joint.
I love them.
It was brilliant. Rated 1 to 10.
Yeah.
10,000. Like, I thought it was
Crushed it.
beautiful. It was so heartfelt, and I had no idea. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't know
Really?
Ray
You didn't have
Moore.
no Dolomite?
I knew Rudy was an independent dude, and he had his own special deal, but I didn't know he was going theater number one. I didn't know he moved up in that hotel just to get that first movie shot. I didn't know pretty much none of that. I didn't know he, you know, was trying to be a singer at first.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I'm
didn't
saying? All
either.
I knew was, you know, just about Dolomite, basically. So it was a awesome glimpse into that dude. That was amazing. The
Yo.
whole cast was great.
Everybody.
It was so real and watchable. It wasn't a moment in it where I was just like, all right, you know, when is this gonna end?
Nah, it
The
was
story's
very
getting
watch. That's a good way of
long.
putting it.
Super watchable. It was great.
I forgot I was watching Eddie.
Exactly. And
That's
then
how
I was
great Eddie is.
celebrating, dude. I'm like, look at this dude, man. Whenever he jumps into something that he feels strongly about, you can tell he's 100% like committed in everything he's responding to is a real response as that character. When he locks into shit, it's awesome to watch. So yesterday at the table it was like inklings of that, and I just can't wait for rehearsal today and tomorrow and Saturday, man. It's gonna be a great week. Regardless of, you know,
Does it feel
even
extra
if shit
special?
goes off the rails, I'm gonna laugh my ass off because that shit is gonna be super funny.
Yo, you gonna break? You gonna
Bruh,
break on camera? You gonna
man,
break?
If the moment breaks, I'm gonna celebrate it.
That's amazing.
Yo, man, Kenan Thompson, man, I love you, brother.
Bruh,
Yo,
love
keep
right
going,
back,
man.
Thank you, man. Keep going for forever, right?
That's right,
I don't-
man.
yeah, till the wheels fall off. This is a great gig. This is the gig.
They gonna have to throw me out of there, man. Unfortunately.
And by the way, this is very radio. I'm glad you're having the conversation with us
Yeah.
because it's very radio for people to go, oh, you just do radio. Aren't you ready to move on to TV? People then move on to TV and they're like, I miss my radio show.
Yo,
I can
picking
say
up a
whatever
phone
I
call?
want.
Yo, that's
totally
so old school.
different.
Right,
Right,
like, all
right.
right, yo,
Yo,
who
call in. Who on the line? Who on the line?
Well, because when something big happens, right, it's the
Yeah.
same dynamic. The
Yeah.
world the next day goes, let me hear what Hot 97 is saying about this.
Bruh, in
Same-
your car, calling in. Yo, you know what I'm saying?
It's the
This
same
is
thing with
Johnny
SNL,
over
though.
here. Yeah.
What are they going to say on Saturday? And when you
Yeah.
lose that and that's gone and you wait to do a project in 8 months,
Yeah.
it's just not the same feeling, man. So
It can't be, man. Like, being topical and being current cannot compare to, you know, a project that's going to take a year or two out of your life. It can't compare. At the same time,
And we're wired different too, like
yeah,
because
no doubt.
we do what
Like,
we
at
do.
the
We're
same
wired
time, you
different.
get an opportunity like the Joker, like, you know, but in between the Joker and his last movie is a lot of time. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know exactly what he's been up to or if he's been probably with living life, which is fine. You know what I mean? But for me, I like performing, I like entertaining, and I like being current and like having my finger on the pulse and blah blah blah. And you know, yeah, staying in New York and being around the babies is always helpful, but the acting these days could take you to fucking New Zealand for 10 years. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? And like, that's a great opportunity, but that's also 10 years in New Zealand. I don't know about
right, you could be gone 6 months
that.
straight.
Yeah, word. I'm good to just get on the train.
But you're
you know
also
what I'm
too
saying?
like the way you're wired, and I'm similar. Is you know, while we do very well for ourselves, in essence, we like going home to our family. We like, doing regular stuff every day, having a weekend with your kids. You know what I mean? Like
low cost. It don't cost me much to just go home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just go right to the crib. And my daughter doesn't care what shoes I got on. You know what I'm saying? Like, she don't care what I'm wearing. She just cares that I'm there. So that saved me money right there.
Boom.
Kenan Thompson, give it up one time, man.
Absolutely,
SNL
man.
Saturday. Eddie Murphy's on.
God bless y'all for getting up this early, man. Seriously, man. I'm looking at 7 tired brothers in here. It's all
we
good, man.